Hi friends, it's Gwen. So November was not that great of a reading month. I did set my goals at the beginning of the school year as 3 books a month while I was in school. Of course, I'm still in school. There are a couple of days left in November, but to be honest, I'm probably not going to be doing a ton of reading between now, the last couple of days in November. And I just finished a whomper of a book, so I'm going to go ahead and fill my wrap up now. So let's get started. Okay friends, so I did only read 3 books in the month of November, but I'm still quite proud of myself. I did have a lot going on, and these books are rather long, so still proud of myself. The first book that I read was The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Yes, I know I am behind on reading this. I think this came out like 2 years ago, and I'm just now getting around to it. But hey, you know, I had Never Fades and In the Afterlight waiting for me, so better late than never. I absolutely loved this book. 5 stars across the board, characters, setting, plot, purpose, and outcome. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It was the perfect dystopian book. I thought the world building was great. I loved the characters. Character building was great. There was a road trip. The cliffhanger at the end. It was amazing. The government-run concentration camps, basically, but rehabilitation camps. The powers, like the different colors associated with the different powers. I loved it. I didn't like, you know, there were parts that did drag on a little bit, but Alexandra Bracken did a great job of using those moments to fill the backstory, to fill the characters, to build the world, you know, to fill just the story, just so you knew what was going on and why things were happening the way they were. So, loved this one. Loved it. 5 out of 5 stars easily. The next book that I read this as part of a Goodreads group that a couple of friends of mine and myself started. We have named ourselves the Novel Bunch, and I'm going to go more in depth in a different video about the Novel Bunch, but I read this along with Danny from Danny Darling and Mads from Madly Books, and I think there were a few other people that kind of joined at the end, but it was mainly the 3 of us, and that is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles series and Scarlet. I really enjoyed this book. A lot of people had mixed feelings about it, but I loved it. To break it down, I gave the characters a 5, the setting a 3, the plot a 4, the purpose a 5, and the outcome a 5. It ended up totaling up to a 4.4 stars, and I did round down to 4 stars just because it wasn't quite where it needed to be, and there were some parts that left me boggling. The characters, okay. Marissa, Meyer, I don't know how you do it, but you are the best character developer ever, okay? You're like the master character developer. All of the characters, you know exactly their inner thoughts and feelings. You know exactly what they look like, how they're going to react to a situation, why they reacted a certain way to the situation. The character arc in this book, oh, so good. It just, there was a beginning, there was a middle, and there was an end. And it was amazing. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your character development. The setting in this book, and I was talking to Danny and Mads about this. So while Cinder, the first book, was set in New Beijing, and I felt there was a lot of world building, this one was in France, and so it was a completely different, it was the same time period, of course, but a totally different country, and I don't feel like I really got a sense of the country where I totally did in New Beijing. And then there was the ships that I wasn't really understanding, and then the jail. Like, there was a lot of parts that I just kind of had to let go of as I was reading. Let it go. So as I was reading it, like in the beginning, it starts with Scarlet. She's in her ship and she's delivering produce to this tavern in France. And I was kind of like, a ship? Like, are ships even in Cinder? I was confused. I was like, ship? What kind of ship? Like, what's this ship look like? So the setting was a little all over the place, and they're they're on a train, and they're, so yeah. The setting wasn't as nailed down as I wish it would have been. Now the plot, of course, Scarlet's grandmother disappears, and yeah. So they're dealing with that. She's hunting down her grandmother, or where'd my grandmother go? And because the police closed the case. So she's going to solve the case. And also there's the whole lunar bit. There's all the introduction of all the characters, and then Cinder's story is in here as well. So the plot, awesome. The purpose, again, awesome. You're following along in the story. You're introducing other characters in the series. So I love that. But yeah, I was very happy with this book, and I can't wait to read Cress. The last and third book that I read this month, and I literally just finished it at like 1:20 this morning. Or I don't know, maybe it was 2. I don't know. It was early this morning. And that is Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken. And it was so tough to go from this big book, almost 500 pages. It is 488 pages. And then this one was 454 pages. And then this one was 507. Yeah, 507. Oh, I just read some big books this month, and it took me forever to read this. A lot of people loved this book, and I give it a solid 4 stars, pretty much across the board. Character, setting, plot, purpose, outcome. The outcome, I'm giving it a 5 because I really think it fires you up for the third book. And the ending, oh, they did not have to do that to Jude. They did not have to do that. Pissed off about that. Oh, but I love it. I love it when she's like, oh, you mean this? Oh, so good. So good. As you can see, I do have some favorite parts in it. I just want to go over there, some of those with you. Oh, my first tab is actually an error. I hate that. Why are there errors in a book? So it says, if you think I'm going to stay quiet and let her take the blame for a mission that wasn't, by the way, a failure, you have another think coming. Don't you think it's supposed to be thing? I know it's only one letter, but come on, editors. We hire you for a reason. Think. No, it's supposed to be thing. But let's see what else I have marked. There were some great one-liners, some great phrases, some great juicy moments. Let's see. Oh, this is where Jude is talking to her. He says, but that, ... nowhere in there is there anything that hints at the fact that he, ... Jude trailed off. I don't want to just see someone's face. I want to know his shadow too. And I was like, you know what, Jude? You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. But I want to see their shadow too. I don't want to just see the outside. And then she asks him, don't you think you know me? And he's like, no. Sometimes I don't even think I've really seen your face. So not only has he not seen her face, but he definitely doesn't know her shadow. Oh, yeah. When, I think it was Chubbs, he was talking to Ruby. And he's like, don't do that. Don't just disappear. If you're mad at me, then hit me or something. Just don't do that. Just don't think that I don't want to stay with you. I'll always want to stay with you. That was so hilarious. He's like, be mad at me, be pissed off. I don't care. Just hit me next time. Just don't leave me. So I loved that. Okay, it says, the palate creaked as Chubb knelt beside it. "Hey, buddy," he said, his breath hitching in his throat as he reached over to place the back of his hand against Lamb's forehead. "This is some mess you've walked your idiotic self into." I was like, that is something I would say. Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. Oh yeah, what about this? "She would drive a saint to murder. Like 10 stab wounds to the torso murder." That is so me. Like 10 stab wounds to the torso murder. That was hilarious. Let's see. I'm gonna see another part. I don't know. It says, "This is a place we don't have to lie." Should always have a place that you don't have to lie in life. I mean, there are other parts, obviously, and I'm not going to sit here and read all of them because I don't want to spoil the whole book for you. If you haven't read it, which if you haven't, you are so behind on your reading, just like I was. But I did finish this one, and I do have In the Afterlight sitting on my shelf waiting for me. I don't know when I'm going to start it. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm so nervous about it. But... okay, so a little bit more about this book. The characters, I felt like Vita and some of the other people from the Children's League could have been better, like, described. I don't feel that we went into them as much, and I felt like we should have. I was so happy when Ruby took care of Knox. Yeah, because that asshole needed to go down. So some of the characters were really well developed, and then some of them weren't. Some of them, I was reading their names and I was like, who is that again? Who is that? So, the setting was good. There wasn't enough world building in this for me. Certain parts of it, like when they came across Knox's camp, East River, yeah, right. They really described that area well, and there was a little bit of a road trip, but it kind of skipped around a bunch. I mean, this one they were all over the place in this book. That was my problem. They were all over the place in this book, and to be honest, I am not even going to lie, I was not invested in this book until chapter 14. I was trying, I saw someone before that said they'll read the first 100 chapters of a book, and that if they're not invested by then they'll just let it go. Let it go. But yeah, I wanted to stick with it because I knew people loved this book. And yeah, so I was sticking with it. I'm glad I did because I loved it. But literally it took me until chapter 14, like almost half of the book, to get invested. And that's not good. But yeah, after chapter 14, zoom, I finished it in like 2 days. So yeah, I was pretty impressed. So these are the 3 books that I read in November. I can't wait to start the reading month of December because I have some pretty exciting books set up for that. Also, if you do a November wrap up, I would love for you to leave the link to your video in my comment section so I can check out what you read. What did you think about these books? I know most of you have read them. Anyway, have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye!